everyone! Today on TLSA, we are going to be sharing some scary stories.
Yeah, I don't know what time you're watching or listening to this, but beware for chills and thrills ahead. Consider yourself warned.
So in Thailand and Laos, beliefs are actually taken very seriously, and going out anytime after midnight is a big no-no. And I think after 3 a.m. is actually considered the prime ghost hour, so if you go out around that time, something bad could possibly happen to you.
So, what if I have like a dance hell week? Then literally it's gonna be a hell week. But there's gotta be people who don't believe in ghosts, am I right?
Yeah, there's this phrase in Thai, "Mai ชื่ออย่าลบหลู่," which basically means if you don't believe it, don't mock it. And if you do, then whatever you were mocking could get back at you in a not nice way.
So kind of don't mess with what you don't know.
Pretty much. But anyways, let's get to the stories. Do you know what P is?
P is ghost, right? So some type of ghost?
Yep. Directly translates into tricked. So during sleep, a person is said to feel discomfort on their chest along with the inability to move. And legend says that it's because there's a P sitting on their chest.
So in a more common sense, PM is like sleep paralysis, right? So like for people who are listening out there, sleep paralysis is kind of like the situation where you're half awake, half asleep, and you can't really move. And to top it all off, you might just like be hallucinating and seeing all sorts of weird stuff.
Yeah, that actually happened to me a few times, but I have one notable experience. So this past spring break, I had an assignment due on the same day. I wanted to go to Universal, so I had to finish it. And I ended up finishing the portfolio at about 5:30 a.m. So I only got 3 hours of sleep that day. And sleep paralysis is typically associated, or it's caused by when your body's like really exhausted. And obviously I was super exhausted that day. After the trip, I was sleeping, and then I think my eyes opened at about 10 a.m. I couldn't move my eyes, I couldn't move my body, I was just staring in this one direction. I was sleeping at my friend's place, and a poster started to like float off of the wall. I was like, oh no, something's happening. But I've had sleep paralysis before, but I never really had any hallucinations. So this was the first for me. And then all of a sudden, I feel like the presence of a really large man just creeping around the bed. I felt like he was basically crawling at the level of the bed back and forth, and every time he was by my feet, I felt somebody like tugging at the sheets in my feet, and this would go on for about 5 to 10 minutes until I finally snapped out of it, and with a huge headache.
Well, I hope that never happens to me, because honestly, that sounds terrifying.
Well, enough about sleep paralysis. Let's hear about some ghostly encounters.
Well, have you ever heard of Pikachu? I'm betting that you have.
I actually have heard some.
Right, so actually Thailand and Laos, we share a lot of folklore. Some of these stories, it comes from the local Southeast Asian folklore, like the Pikachu. And then there's others like Pipret that are from Buddhist mythology. Then we also have ghosts like Pidiptin that are borrowed from Chinese folklore.
I guess you could say we are jumping all over the place. Get it? Because, they jump.
I can't with you, Asia.
Anyways, back to the story.
Right. So this story, the Pikachu story, goes all the way back to 1963. It starts with a girl, let's just call her Girl A, who mysteriously disappeared one day.
So was one day she just tired of everything and peaced out?
Well, obviously, her family did try to search for her, but they failed. So all the villagers, they were like, yeah, it's another case of a young child getting lost in the woods. It's normal. Young children get lost all the time. But then you know what happened? A few weeks later, the same exact thing happened to another family.
Wait, what? How could that happen?
So it was like the same exact scenario. A young girl suddenly disappearing. And then it happened again, like 4 times. A total of 4 young girls disappeared.
4 times? That's the number of deaths.
And you know what also happened at the same time? Someone reported seeing 4 mysterious lights near the edge of the forest. And someone said that the 4 girls that disappeared had become Pikachu, or a floating head ghost.
Oh yeah, now that I think of it, my grandma actually used to tell me stories. Typically, back then in Thailand and Laos, women would wear a sarong, or like a long cloth, and wrap it around their waist as like kind of like a skirt. And then they would do their laundry and leave it out. And then if they left it out at night, there was actually some stories of people finding bloodstains on their laundry in the morning. And then it was reported that that's actually from the Pikachu that would go out and eat like raw meat, or just like organs of like animals or even humans, and then they would go to wipe all the blood from their mouth off on people's laundry.
Yeah, Pikachu. It's like the spirit of a woman who was cursed. So in the day, she can live as like a normal person, but then in the night, her head can detach and float off to find raw or rotten animals or organs to eat.
So we have floating heads.
Yeah, but you know what? It's not just the head that goes, but also the stomach and the lungs and all the inner organs. Everything that's like attached to the head goes too. And you know what when they say that they see like a dim red light, they say that's the heart. So if you see a floating red light, that's like the heart of a Pikachu.
So you guys better keep an eye on your pets that you let out in your backyard, or else Pikachu will come and get them.
Yeah, keep an eye on your furry friends. Anyways, let's move on to the last story.
So which ghost are we talking about now?
Have you ever heard of Pipret?
Oh, the hungry ghost? Yeah. The Pipret is actually really common across South and Southeast Asian countries. They actually come from Buddhist beliefs, which in turn come from India, and both Thai and Lao cultures have it in their folklore.
So they say if like in your life you've sinned a lot.
A lot? How much?
I don't know, like a lot. So if you've done that, then you become a pipre.
So generally, it's kind of like if you were really greedy in your life, then you become a hungry ghost after you die. Kind of based off of the concept of karma in Buddhism. If you do bad things in life, you pay for it when you die.
So it's kind of like a reap what you sow situation here. So the reason that pipre is perpetually hungry is that they're really tall and thin and they have small mouths. So it's kind of like hard for them to eat.
So they're just doomed to starve for eternity?
I mean, they say if you ever hear a high-pitched whistle during the night,
That's the sound of a pig wailing for food.
but they're not actually that dangerous, are they?
Well, most of the time, no.
So you can like hear the whistle and be all, oh, that's a pipre. Huh, okay.
Technically, yeah, but if that happens, you should actually leave food out for them. I mean, you gotta feel bad for them, you know, like they just want some food, and then once you give it to them, they'll be on their way. Plus, helping them actually gives you good karma.
So you don't become a pipre yourself.
Yep. A lot of monks leave food out, such as sugar, because it's really small and easy to eat.
So be a good human and help someone in need, even if it's a pipre.
And that concludes our spooky Halloween podcast. If you're watching this at night, then have a good night, everyone. Sleep tight. Do not let the demons bite. Don't mess with what you don't know. Keep your pets safe. And don't forget to feed the hungry ghosts.
Good night.
Thank you. Good night.